I'm about to reveal to you guys Luffy's next power-up. Gear 5 Dawn Man.
What did he say?
This new power-up is what's needed to beat the Gorosei, because according to some new figurines being released, the Straw Hats will be moving to ELBAF by November of this year. So we gotta beat at least one Gorosei, right? Yet Luffy still can't even harm these bozos. But that's not all, because Oda really fed us this week, as he revealed the name of the first pirate ever, which actually gives us a huge piece of the puzzle that is the Void Century and the Ancient War for Dawn. Also, yeah, the world is still sinking onto the sea, and it actually started 800 years ago. In fact, we get more reactions to this from people all around the world, especially in Impel Dawn. I mean Impel Down. Here, Doffy and Magellan are talking about how the 1 meter increase in sea levels has caused havoc in Impel Down as it flooded several cells. Remember, the prison might be hell, but they typically don't execute their prisoners. They just make them wish they were dead. So even though it is filled with criminals, Magellan is still charged with keeping them alive. Doffy adds that if the sea was to raise just another 5 meters, then most cities around the world would be completely screwed. That might seem crazy to you, like sure, 5 meters is a lot, but it can't be that bad when you look at the whole planet, right? Well, here's a flood calculator that shows you how much of Florida would be underwater if our own sea levels rose by just 5 meters. Look at how much of Miami is gone. But One Piece isn't a world of large continents, it's a world of islands. So let's look just south of Florida to the Bahamas, and you can see almost all of the islands, they're underwater. This is what the One Piece world would look like. And you know what the crazy part is that this is just an offhand comment by Doflamingo. Vegapunk is saying that the whole world will be underwater. Doffy is kinda giving a best case scenario with the 5 meter thing. But Doffy's benevolence doesn't end there, as he also gives one of the most profound suggestions to Magellan, something the community has been speculating to be the final part to solving the One Piece. He says, "Can we get much higher? So high." Memes aside, Doffy asking to be moved higher means that he wants them to take to the top of the red line. If the prisoners do move to the peak of Marie-Joie, then that could be Doflamingo's opportunity to take his revenge on the world nobles, and at the very least, to escape. We know that he will be coming back into the story because bro just has that riz, alright? There's a reason we keep seeing him over and over again. He will do something in the endgame, especially considering Doflamingo's 16 Holy Bullets attack, which was actually inspired by Uranus's 16 beams that decimated the Lucia Kingdom, along with stating that he knows the deep dark secrets of the world government. Yep, he knows about Imu and everything.
Yeah, no Sherlock!
With that in mind, a panicked populace is a worst case scenario for something like the world government. After all, it's easier to control a population that is calm and docile. Things are only made more tense when Vegapunk predicted that there will be many earthquakes that precede the Great Flood, which will not be caused by a natural phenomenon. This instantly gave his insane recording credibility, because as Smoothie points out, he made the recording before he died, so his prediction was made ages ago. If Vegapunk was to share with the world that it was actually Uranus obliterating Lucia and that the Gorosei and Imu were responsible for not only this attack, but also for the destructive storm and sea rise that followed, then the whole world would turn against the Celestials in a split second. Like, they've been paying the government protection money for centuries, and you telling me I needed protection from the government itself the most this entire time?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
The Gorosei cannot let that happen, so they push things into high gear and decide that there's no other option than to eliminate every living thing on the island regardless of the consequences. Someone should probably tell the Marines about that, to be honest, because they're still fighting for their lives. Guys, the Vice Admiral, somebody, please save Bluegrass. Mr. Triple Chin, Lady Doll is still there somewhere. Please help them.
Oh no. Anyway,
Vegapunk continues his message where he blames himself himself, saying that he naively strived for peace and prosperity and that this brought about his first grave sin. He wanted to create an everlasting energy source so he could bring the world into a new age, but in doing so, he flew too close to the sun. And that all brings us back to the title of the chapter, The Wings of Icarus. Icarus is a dude from Greek myth, whose father Daedalus created wax wings that they could use to escape King Minos and fly to Sicily. However, Icarus soared too high and the heat from the sun melted his wings and led to his death. But when you think about it, Vegapunk isn't really Icarus, he is Daedalus. In an attempt to guide the rest of the world towards freedom and a new age, he created wings for humanity to soar on, an eternal energy source called the Mother Flame. And like Daedalus, Vegapunk would have to watch as his creation led to the destruction of the very people they were trying to save. However, there is also another dark theme that is being portrayed. Vegapunk literally sold his soul to achieve this technology, where he was not just given funds from those who would misuse it, but also other resources such as prisoners. One being King, where the Lunarians are also a nod to Icarus with their wings and they worship the sun, hence their name Lunarian, because the moon ultimately revolves around the sun, reflecting its light. Likewise, the fires the Lunarians produce is likely drawn from the sun itself, which brings us back to Mother Flame. Then we finally get to see what this Mother Flame thing is, because Saturn charges past all of the Straw Hats and rushes to the lab to try and help Mars stop the broadcast. However, he instead finds himself looking up at a giant machine holding a flame encased in water. But while the flame itself is a one-of-a-kind resource to the Gorosei, everything else in the lab is a potential source of the broadcast, and so Saturn starts bashing things with a stick. Basically, the dude is trying to destroy everything but Mother Flame, and his Devil Fruit powers would be too risky in such a small space. Also, something interesting I just realized while recording the video, it's like, you have Mother Flame, right? It's like the eternal energy source, and then you have the ancient giant robot right outside, which is kind of like the body, and Vegapunk's big ass head as the brain, right? So it's like brain, body, and soul. All three of these things are in Egghead. I don't know, that just seems kind of odd.
That's suspicious.
However, Oda just pulled one of the craziest shit in the entire manga, just by the looks of what Mother Flame's container holds, okay? Look at those 16 circles around the fire. They look exactly like the paintings on the moon we saw during the Enel backstory. Does this mean Moon Gang is back? Are the Straw Hats going to the moon? I don't think so, man. It's pretty clear that they're going to ELBAF next, and this is crazy foreshadowing. Like, Mother Flame was foreshadowed 700 chapters ago.
Peek.
Anyways, the image of Mother Flame being present on the moon suggests a few things to us. First, in the past, there was certainly a clear link between the moon and Earth, or rather, it could be that the ancient weapon itself is what we saw on the moon, where they were teleported to the moon using Uranus instead of being destroyed. This would also fit the question of the giant hole in Enies Lobby, as the ancient kingdom used to exist there until Emu blasted it to the moon. Similarly, Lucia Kingdom has been launched to the moon because, let's be honest, do you guys really think that Oda would massacre an entire country worth of innocents? Like, he couldn't even kill Pound. Like, I refuse to believe those kids are dead. Like, making people lose their emotions to only be able to laugh or slavery in chains is one thing, okay? But killing in one piece, that is not possible. Oda could never, alright?
He's got a point.
But another key indicator to this theory of Uranus teleportation ability is that there is an unnatural hole left where it used to be. It's like space itself has been zapped away. Furthermore, Uranus, the deity, was known for his powerful psychic abilities and advanced telekinesis, which he would use to fly things through the air. Vegapunk then reveals that he had gained access to the taboo research of the archaeologists of Ohara. However, he doesn't know everything about the Void Century other than the poneglyphs and a man who was born in an ancient kingdom 900 years ago. The man fought with a stretchy body and was the first pirate ever, JOYBOY. Vegapunk refers to JOYBOY as someone who is just like the legendary sun god Nika from the fables of ELBAF. And from this line, we learn two key details. First, JOYBOY is from an ancient kingdom, which we know is not ELBAF, and second, he is like Nika but not Nika himself. Or put another way, Nika and JOYBOY are separate people where Nika is a title that JOYBOY inherited from history, just as Luffy is Nika now. This also could mean that the original Nika was a giant that was seen as a deity in ELBAF. The constant throwback to this is Luffy's Gear 3 and 5 ability to turn into said giant. Oh, and let's not forget the giant straw hat, which is kept in Imu's basement. But while all of this craziness is being broadcast around the world, all hell is breaking loose outside of the lab. The ancient robot is more or less marching through a buster call unfazed. Nami's group is sailing towards the edge of Egghead's clouds as they prepare for their escape, and Luffy and the giants are trying to run from Warkiri in his flaming boar form. Even after returning to Gear 5, Luffy still isn't really able to deal with Warkiri's rampage and instead burns his hand when he tries to punch him. There is simply nothing that anyone has been able to do to stop the rampaging boar at this point. Unless someone would figure out a way for Luffy to level up one more time. Luffy's biggest weakness right now is energy. Using Gear 5 drains him incredibly quickly and it leaves him vulnerable. I wonder if there is another source of energy, possibly maybe unlimited energy in Egghead right now. That's right, Luffy is going to consume Mother Flame to reach his perfected Gear 5 state, or as I like to call it, Gear 5 Dawn Man, because everyone keeps referring to Gear 5 and JOYBOY as the sun god, right? But the sun and its heat is often represented and associated with the colors red or orange, and Luffy has yet to radiate the flames that the sun brings, along with the energy it shares, which suggests that Luffy hasn't actually become a fully realized sun god yet. There is one more step left. This theory gains even more traction when we look at Mother Flame itself, where it literally reminds you of Luffy's hair in Gear 5. Also, look at this artwork Oda has done for a color page. Like, doesn't this look like Gear 5 just with an orange skin on it? And guess who the color orange is often associated with? It's of course Hanuman, the Hindu deity from whom Luffy is inspired by. If we couple that with the fact that Hanuman literally tried to eat the sun because he thought it was food, Luffy eating Mother Flame to gain a power upgrade becomes even more plausible, because the A and MU lettering around Mother Flame sounds like atomic in Japanese, which is a hint towards the mechanism that gives Mother Flame its power through fusion, or the same process that powers the sun. So Luffy chomping down on Mother Flame would be similar to Hanuman trying to eat Surya. And later, Suryadev, or the sun, actually gives Hanuman a training arc and gives him the title of Mahavir, or a new form. Similarly, after Mother Flame, Luffy won't be exhausted instantly, and the heat that he will generate through the orange flames will be strong enough to burn the Gorosei. This theory gets even deeper when we look at the number 108 next to the flame, as 108 in Buddhism and Hinduism holds a lot of meaning. It represents the idea of wholeness, or the complete capture of existence, where at the start of a new year, you ring the bell 108 times to ward off bad spirits and channel good vibes. Luffy will of course take this notion on and ward off the Gorosei, bringing in a new dawn. Finally, in ELBAF, the Winter Solstice Festival is the celebration of the death and rebirth of a sun, from supernova to a new star. Luffy gained the title of Supernova during Sabaody arc, which has a lot of parallels and inversions to Egghead. For example, Kizaru bodying Luffy to now Luffy bodying him, or Law and Kid being introduced to now both of their pirate careers being over. Luffy lost his supernova title at the start of Egghead as he's now a Yonko. But after eating Mother Flame, a new star will be born. Egghead is even a winter island, hinting that Oda has thought about the symbolism of Nika and the Winter Solstice Festival. To solidify all this, Oda ends this chapter by giving us the biggest foreshadowing with Luffy's hands literally looking as though he's holding eternal flames. As a gag, his hands are busted after his failed attempt at beating Valkyrie. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, watch the video on screen right now because it's another banger theory about Blackbeard.